Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, Lakers just had to playing the Dallas Mavericks. Overtime game. Austin Reeves, heroics, hit the game winner with .9 seconds to go. Unbelievable walk-off shot by a young rookie. We're going to get into all of that. But we're going to start off by saying I'm very, very happy that the Lakers got the win. And that's the most important thing. Even though we went into overtime and we had some issues with defensively, some big shots hit by both teams, and ultimately we are very pleased to have been on the winning side of that. I missed most of this game, had a lot of trouble finding links, so I just kind of gave up and did other things. But I came back around like I always do, made sure I checked the highlights, made sure I checked the stats, made sure I saw the fourth quarter as best I could or the overtime as best I could. So I will admit I missed a lot of the game. So I'll give you what I can. However, I didn't miss the shot, and I didn't miss some of the big plays in overtime. What I saw in the highlights was just a Laker team that really got off to a good start, a balanced start. It seemed like everybody was contributing pretty well. Obviously, we were shorthanded. Our shooters were really getting involved very well. I love what I saw from Wayne Ellington. He had some massive shots out there. Again, Austin Reeves, before even all that heroic stuff came on, he was hot and doing a great job of crashing the boards. So that was something that really stood out. Russell Westbrook was fantastic tonight in terms of being aggressive, creating plays for others, just doing the things that he needed to do, getting some key offensive rebounds that just continued to help the team. We saw some things out there with LeBron James, of course, doing what he did, being very, very aggressive off the ball. I saw a lot of the plays where he was not running the ball up, but he was the recipient of different passes and things of that nature. He's learning how to be more and more comfortable off the ball so that other ball handlers can be free to do what it is that they do, and we're finding that synergy, and I love what I'm seeing out of LeBron James. And he's starting to really, really push himself into his own lane, his level of play. He's starting to be himself, I guess. In other words, I think he's going to start creeping into the MVP conversation very soon. That's what I'm saying. That's basically what I'm here to say. I think this is like the beginning of him starting that process. Okay, so Anthony Davis, even though he had his struggles here and there, what I do want to point out about Anthony Davis is he found himself in the right place at the right time offensively in a lot of stuff. He was getting tip plays and rebounds and being in the right place at the right time offensively. Now, defensively, there were some things out there. We'll talk about that. But ultimately, I just like what I saw from him in terms of being available for 50-50 balls, being underneath, creating plays for not only himself but for others, making good passes and things of that nature. So I thought Anthony Davis played solid. You know, he still struggled quite a bit in the first half, things like that, but we'll get into that. Carmelo Anthony was very active tonight. I saw some good things out of him, creating shots for himself, making people miss and things of that nature. It was really cool to see. And I just really, really like what I saw from the team from an energy standpoint. I think the only person who looked sluggish to my eyesight was Anthony Davis. Everybody else seemed to be playing with pace, seemed to be playing with a whole lot of intensity, and I like the speed that we attacked this game with. On the other side, I was not surprised to see Jalen Brunson really do good. He put up some solid numbers, got some good assists out there. He was really running their offense, being a really nice young point guard. And I've been singing his praises since I saw this game on the schedule, and he didn't disappoint. He didn't make me look crazy out there. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He was one of the more important players out there. Tim Hardaway Jr., man, what a heck of a shooter that is, man. What a weapon. The Dallas Mavericks are so lucky to have Tim Hardaway Jr. I think his style of play is something that I think any team would want. He's just a quintessential big-time shooter, no conscience, and he's just continuing to be consistent every single year. So that's just a player I really, really like. The only problem that's ever been with Tim Hardaway is just that he's always been blessed enough to have these really, really big contracts. He's been overpaid quite a bit, so you never actually get a chance to acquire him. If you're a team like maybe the Lakers or the Spurs or whoever would want a shooter like that, you never got a chance because New York and Dallas just keep paying him. So, that's a great thing for him, but it sucks in the sense that nobody can ever acquire him. He doesn't move very much, but for the Dallas Mavericks, he's a heck of a shooter, and he's going to continue to be. With 20 good points tonight, I thought he made his impact very strong on that side of the ball. Porzingis played very, very well. Saw some good things out of him in limited minutes for myself in terms of my eyesight. Maxi Kleber hit some huge shots. That dude is starting to really stand out for me in terms of every time I see the Dallas Mavericks, he's always out there doing some good stuff against the Lakers. So Maxi Kleber is a guy you can pay attention to. He's a very good player. I mentioned Green for the Dallas Mavericks. He didn't play very much tonight. Didn't really see a whole lot from him, but they that was them. I'm giving them their props because I always try to do that. It was an overtime game, and both teams played very, very hard. Now, let's get into some details. First of all, LeBron James is still getting off the floor at 37 years of age, 36 years of age, about to be 37 in about a week or so. I mean, he was above the square when he blocked the Jalen Brunson shot. I didn't actually see the shot. I just saw the picture, the photo of him getting up above, basically almost touching the backboard. He could still do that. Just a phenomenal athlete. There's no way around it. And he was able to display all of that tonight. Like I said, I think he's going to be entering that MVP trophy candidacy very soon. So it's going to be a big plethora of teams, names that are going to be in that MVP race. He's going to be one of them, I think. So I want to definitely talk about how Wayne Ellington hit some massive shots out there. Just making himself available to be consistent for us. Hitting shots in overtime and hitting shots in the fourth quarter. It's particularly the shot that sent us into overtime and put us in a position to be in that position in the first place. It was Wayne Ellington doing those things for us. LeBron James cutting to the basket, making sure he hit a logo three out there at the third quarter, which was just awesome, showing off his skills. I think what I saw from a negative standpoint defensively was just us finding ourselves a bit out of position. And I hate to single out one player, but this is just what my eyesight saw. We were trying to overplay in the paint. And I know Anthony Davis, it's kind of confusing at times because you got to figure out when you're playing against a guy like Maxi Kleber, exactly how much space do you leave him versus being what you naturally are, which is somebody who's supposed to be playing the paint as the center. When the Dallas Mavericks put a stretch five on the floor for AD to guard, we found ourselves very confused because we were playing a small ball lineup, so it meant that AD had to make up for the fact that those guys were small in the paint. So what the Dallas Mavericks were able to do was work the ball around with screens and things of that nature to find mismatches, and as a result, we would have AD in the paint with a three-point shooter that he's supposed to be guarding, having rotated all the way out to the three-point line with somebody else on him. AD got a little man in the paint or something of that nature that ultimately doesn't matter because the shooter's out there shooting shots over the guy who's much shorter than him, in situations like that just kept occurring. They had mismatches that they were able to create constantly, and that's why they were able to continue to keep the game close, because defensively our pick and roll defense was non-existent, and as a result those mismatches just kept coming. So I can't tell you, especially in overtime, how many times they would run us around screens, and as a result, we would have unfavorable matchups on the floor. It just kept happening, and they would always take advantage. So that's what I saw. It's just a horrible way to play the pick and roll. Horrible way to read switches and things of that nature, and how to best put yourself in a position to guard who is going to ultimately be shooting the ball. So I just felt like the good thing about a game like this is you get to really see some key footage. For those who study film and, for the team, you're going to see great sequences of examples of how poor our pick and roll defense is. And you're going to see spacing and different things that we can do to put ourselves in a position to guard plays like that much better as the season progresses. So I would take this film as one of the key videos to show the team when trying to teach how best not to run the pick and roll defense. So yeah, I think I got a feeling this is going to be one of the ones that the coaches keep. This is one of the important games for our team because we did a lot of stuff out there that we didn't like defensively, and we did a lot of things out there we loved offensively. So this is a very key game. Russell Westbrook was creating some fantastic plays out there, including the final game-winning shot that Austin Reeves hit in overtime with 9.9 seconds to go. Russell Westbrook was just making the right read, catching the ball. Guys were unselfish tonight, rotating the ball. Defense would rush at them. They would take a step forward, things of that nature. We were doing a lot of readjusting our positioning and making the defense miss. So I just love what I saw from an offensive standpoint in terms of guys being patient, working the ball around, creating opportunities to hit threes, and guys hitting their three-point shot. I think we shot about 39% from three. That's very good. That's close to 40. We love that. Wayne Ellington and of course Austin Reeves. Now Austin Reeves, if I'm not mistaken, was like 5 for 6 from 3 or something like that. I only saw him miss one, including that, and of course he made that one at the end, which I thought he was actually fouled on. That shot he hit, he was just flat out fouled. They didn't call it, but didn't matter. We won the game. Like I said before that, Maxi Kleber had hit a big 3-point shot, a bank 3-point shot, after Russell Westbrook had hit a 3-point shot of his own from the corner. And mind you, Russell Westbrook had just airballed a corner 3-point shot, which was really frustrating for us. I was screaming at the TV telling LeBron James, why in the heck did you pass him the ball in the corner? Because you know he's going to miss it. And then when he caught it in this particular case, I'm sitting there saying the same stuff and he hits it, and I'm like, well, let me just shut up. So it is what it is. When it comes to Hall of Famers, hey, they have no conscience. If he misses a shot, he might miss 8 shots, but he might make the one you think he needs to make, and that's ultimately what we saw out there. But I just want to give credit to Russell Westbrook, particularly for just the playmaking that I saw out there, man. He was just doing an excellent job of aggressively attacking the glass, passing the rock, just rushing at the rim and making sure he was available to hit layups and things of that nature. Very, very, very helpful stuff. So I thought that he was really fantastic. But we got to start talking about Austin Reeves, man. I talk about him a lot, but I'm talking about, like, when you start talking about the rookie rankings, I think he entered his name into the rookie rankings today. I think he put his name in there as somebody now you have to really consider as a rookie. And most importantly, the Lakers need to start starting him at this point. I think AR-15 has earned his starting spot after this game. I like Weezy Ellington. I like Avery Bradley, even though Avery Bradley once again had one of those games where he didn't give me a whole lot of production, but he ran around with a lot of minutes. I just hate that. I hate it. I'm not going to lie. I hate it because I just don't see the fruit in playing him out there if he's not going to be productive. Now, when he is productive, he's on. But when he's not productive, it's just like I want those minutes to go to young players that we need to develop. That's my whole point of view. I don't have nothing against Avery Bradley. In fact, I'm happy he's here. But I don't see the fruit in playing him if he's not going to be productive. And I feel the same way about Wayne Ellington, but Wayne was productive tonight, so it is what it is. But I was happy to see Austin Reeves get the big minutes and get the big nod because he's been good. Since the start of the season, he's been one of our best players. He's consistent. And when he went out with the injury, of course, we had to wait it out. It took a long time. He came back. He had to work his way back into the equation. But this is a perfect storm now as to where he's had some games back to where he can get his conditioning up. And now other guys get removed so he can get his minutes up. So this is just a perfect storm for him. And he took full advantage of it, hitting just about every shot, playing very, very spirited basketball. And, I think his effort and his smarts on the defensive end will eventually translate to defense when he starts to gain strength and start to, just get more basketball under his system. Because right now, what I see is a guy making good defensive reads, but he's just not able to get stops physically. Now, sometimes that never changes. Sometimes guys can just be good, and just never stop anybody. But I think eventually Austin Reeves, because he's so good at what he does and because he's so smart, he's going to find a way to be effective defensively, more so than he is today. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at a rookie who I trust. I literally trust him. It's not a situation where I'm ever saying, okay, we need to sit Austin. I've said that about just about everybody on this team, but him and LeBron James. Everybody else, I've said, you know what, they're not doing it. It's not their day or something like that. Maybe Malik Monk as well. I ain't remember saying that about Malik. But other than that, everybody's either struggled or had their days. But Austin is consistent. Austin hits his threes. Austin makes good reads. Austin makes good players better. Austin makes good defensive reads. I mean, he's a really, really, really talented basketball mind. And he's only going to get continuously better. And because he has a natural gift to shoot the ball, I think his upside is much higher than people would even imagine. I really do. I think that what I'm seeing now is basketball genius in him. With it this early, he's already hitting game winners. This early, he's already making plays for others. This early, he's already one of the best players on a team full of Hall of Famers. You need to understand this. He was undrafted. And, he's not somebody with a big name. But he is going to be somebody in this league. I'm telling you this now. He's, dare I say, not normal. And I'm just going to leave it at that. AR-15, I'm a believer. If I'm the Lakers, I'm locking him up now before his price starts to skyrocket over the next several years. Because eventually, if he turns into what it is that he's starting to look like he may turn into, it's going to be hard to keep him. He's gonna get priced out the game. So we would be wise to try to lock him up on one of them little deals, like one of the THT deals. We'd be very wise to try to lock him up on that ASAP. And I'm not kidding. Because at the end of the day, even if he doesn't get much better than this at all, he's still good enough to be on my team anytime. Right now, I already trust him. So you got to keep him. Do not shop that kid. You can shop everybody else. Do not shop him. I'm telling you. It's one of those things where it's like, nah, not that one. So that's what I think. We found ourselves a serious gem. In fact, I like him even more than I like THT in some ways, to be completely and utterly real with you. He's just a more sound basketball mind. He's going to make good decisions no matter what team he's on. And he's going to hit that three no matter what team he's on. So, and he's going to make others better because he has passing gift. You know, he knows how to make plays for others. And he's good off the ball. He doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses, man. Not offensively anyway. So I'm super high on this dude. And I think there's a whole league full of people that messed up not drafting that boy. A whole league full of them. So, yeah, that's the truth about Austin Reeves. Now, if there's anything else to say about this game, I just want to say 14 was the magic number. We had 14 turnovers. That's exactly the maximum number I say that I am with in order for us to win. It's no coincidence that that's an overtime game. You see what I'm saying? 14 is the max. Once we start getting to 15 and above, I think we lost. But if we get 14 or under, I think it's a damn good chance that we win that game. But 14 is that max, overtime, etc. We shot 77% from the free throw. I thought that's okay. That's okay. It's not great, but it's not bad at all. It's good enough to win. And of course, I'd have to say the truth. We're lucky that Luka didn't play tonight, because if he did, it's a different game. Very, very different. So I'm not saying we're out of the woods. In fact, it's kind of embarrassing in some ways that they didn't have Luka, and we still had our big three out there and had to go in overtime with him. But I don't think that was something that if you watch the game, you said that the big three weren't doing their part. It's not like you're sitting there saying, okay, they're struggling. Why are they struggling against this team? No, it's just that they're top heavy and the rest of their role players have to try to keep up. And that's where it really, that's where we suffer. Again, defensively, we were bad. Offensively, we were good. On the glass, we kept up. We didn't win the glass battle, but we kept up. Good enough under the circumstances, given the fact that we didn't have anybody out there really play who was a natural center actually playing. And I think DJ played maybe like 10 minutes, barely ran around. So, you know, of course, Dwight's in protocol. So we had to go small, made the best of it, and I think we did good. Yeah, man, just a whole lot of good. Of course, I didn't see as much of the game as I'd like to. So I can't really give you everything I would give you if I did. But what I can say is that overtime was spectacular. That shot he hit was spectacular. And I like the pace that the Lakers played with tonight. And Anthony Davis, you know, 20 points. I think he had, I don't remember how many boards he had, but I think it was close to double digits, if not double digits. Maybe like 12. 20 points, 12 rebounds, something like that. That's a solid game. But that's still not quite the production that we are paying for. Cut and just dry and uncut. That's what it is, man. It's not what we're paying for. We're paying for him to be a bit better than that. But he's working his way back from a knee injury. He did some good plays out there. He was doing good stuff out there. He hit some shots, some key ones. Even down the stretch, he hit some shots. So, you know, you just understand that he's struggling. And the team, we're struggling. So you just want to be patient. You know, you just want to be patient. And you want to point out the good things, because there was plenty of them. But I do have to admit that it's hard. I guess I'm looking at him from a negative perspective, and I'm watching for mistakes as opposed to watching for the good. So now I'm trying to overcompensate for that by saying, see, there's some good. But the reality was, I'm still seeing him struggle, and there's no way around that. You know, he's struggling defensively in this game, particularly with trying to figure out, as I said at the beginning, where he needs to be when guarding three-point shooting fives. Especially when there's a bunch of small people around him. And that's not really his fault. That's a coaching thing. You got to make sure that there are rebounders on the floor so that he can trust that they can do that. You know, and that's what it was. He couldn't both cover what he felt he needed to cover and cover what the assignment was. And so what I would tell him is, you got to know your foot speed. You're too far away from your man at this situation. Okay, so when the ball moves, you can't close out fast enough to get to Maxi Kleber in that situation if you're already in the paint. Now, if you were faster like you used to be in New Orleans, you could be able to trace back into the paint and then trace out to the three-point line, because your mind wants to do that because you're smart enough to do that. But your body's not quick enough to do that. So what you have to do is make up for that by not leaving so much space between you and your man. You got to give up something, and that decision has to be made not based on what you see, but based on what you're able to cover in terms of space. So that's what I would tell him in regards to what I saw out there. It was just like he was giving way too much space to the three-point shooter. You got to give him less space. Stay in that tween position. That way you can close out to the shooter and get to that board. You're long, so you don't have to be all in the paint like that. But when you're trying to overcompensate for guys being mismatched out there because of the size differential, then I understand why he's doing too much. So you're not fast enough to do that, AD. It's cut and dry. That's why your conditioning is so important going forward, so that your body can do the things that your mind wants to do. That's what I'm seeing out there. His mind is moving fast, but his body moving slow. And you have to wonder. We're getting to a point where, as I'm watching his struggles, I'm wondering, are we headed down with AD? Like, Akeem Olajuwon was Akeem Olajuwon until he wasn't no more. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he was Akeem in Houston, and then he went on the decline. Then he became Akeem in Toronto. Do you understand what I'm saying? When that happens for each player is different. Some guys fall off a cliff at 36. Some guys fall off a cliff at 27. I don't know where AD is right now, but I'm telling you his foot speed is not up to par for his contract. That's what I'm telling you. Cut and dry. His talent is still off the charts. He's still a great player, but he's so slow right now that he's a liability. That's the truth. It's all about speed for him right now. And in some of the plays that he was making, I have to admit, it was a play out there where he was in rotation. The play was popping. Everybody else was in rhythm. But when the play got to him, the pass came out of him slow to Austin Reeves. But if it would have came out in the same rhythm that it had been passed in regards to the entire team, he makes that pass to Austin Reeves, and Austin Reeves gets a shot. Instead, Austin Reeves had to relocate, and the ball had to continue to get moved around. Those little bitty things, split-second, slower passes, will determine what happens, because the defense can recover. You see what I'm saying? But if the play is in the same rhythm as everybody else, if four people are passing the exact same way and the fifth person is passing slow, the play is gone. It's gone, and that's exactly what I saw in that situation. Ball movement is so important, and we got to be on the same page. So that's just one single play. It wasn't a big deal. I don't think the play ended up with us not scoring. I don't remember. But the point was, it was those little subtle things that really do make the difference. Like, they literally can make a difference. Now, the great opposite of that is, because AD was on the floor, we saw situations where he was getting deflections. We saw situations where he was getting tip balls that would end up in our favor. We saw situations where he was getting in the paint and able to shoot over guys that were smaller than him because he's so big. So we saw a lot of good stuff that only he can do tonight. So I would be able to point out both. I'm not necessarily saying it's all bad. I can totally see those little things that he does that make it so that he's untradeable, despite him struggling to the point where you just want to trade him anyway. Like, it gets to that point, but I tell you, there's certain things that only he and Evan Mobley and guys of that length can do, and you saw some of that tonight. So, I can't say I'm giving him the game ball, but I'm definitely saying that from him coming back from a knee injury, he was good enough for me tonight. He was. Overall, I give him a C+. That's good enough. So, Russell Westbrook was great. Again, I want to give him credit, even though, he did some things, missing that 3-point shot in the corner. I wouldn't say that was his fault. I'd just look at Braun and say, man, if that's Wayne Ellington, for sure. But Russell Westbrook in that situation, it just didn't work out. And then he comes down and hits the corner three again. The other side, he hits the corner three, and that shut me up, so I left it alone. So, yeah, man, great overall celebration for ourselves tonight, getting a victory on the road against a team that was missing their best player. Austin Reeves gets the game ball, of course, for hitting so many shots and ultimately being the hero this evening. I love what I saw from the team and celebrating him and running to his support after the shot. I thought that was good for chemistry. I thought this was the shot in the arm for our team that we needed, something that'll give us some excitement and a good flight to wherever the next destination is. I think it's Chicago. I believe it's Chicago. But and that's how you want to start a mini road trip, if that's what this is. I haven't looked. I think it's a mini road trip, but you definitely want to start that on the road, winning the basketball game. Now, unfortunately, it was overtime, so we didn't get the rest that we need. When you have an overtime game on the road, that means it delays a lot. So I hope that guys are able to get rest and all that, and nothing, is it throws them off their schedule as far as what they're trying to do. So yeah, that's what I got, man. I mean, it ain't nothing bad to say. The Lakers did what they were supposed to do. They came into this game and made sure that they got a victory at all costs. They didn't play perfect, but they played good enough. They kept the turnovers at a place where you can be comfortable with. They shot the free throw at a place you can be comfortable with. They rebounded at a place you can be comfortable with. They hit the three at a place you can be comfortable with. So all in all, the Lakers played a good enough offensive game to get the victory. Defensively, we still have our issues. And we shouldn't have been that close. Cut and dry. The game should never have been that close without Luka Doncic. We need to make some differences, some changes to get better if we want to have a chance against real teams. But at the same time, we are counting our victories as we go. And we are happy to continue to be adding wins to our column. So once again, Frank Vogel, I want to give him some credit. I thought he did some good things out there with limited players. He's had some good games lately in terms of what you want him to do. I thought he made some good decisions out there, calling some names that needed to be on the floor at the right time in situations like that I usually complain about. Didn't see any of that tonight. So I am very pleased to say that. And that's where we're at, man. I want to say more, but I just didn't see enough. So that's what I got, man. My name is BDL44, AR-15, man. Congratulations. Peace.